Hello there, and welcome to Laughing Goat Fiber Farm. We're a small farm on the outskirts of Ithaca, and it's about a 50-acre farm. Here you can see an aerial view. We have rolling pastures and some woods, and we have a few farm buildings, 2 barns, a carriage house, and then the family house. And then we also have solar panels. I don't know if you can see those in the picture. We are raising an assortment of exotic fiber animals, Angora goats, Cashmere goats, and alpaca. That's me in the red, and my husband Gary helps me. We also have a farm dog, Calvin, who's a rescue border collie Australian shepherd mix, and then Patchouli, who's a barn cat that we rescued. And that's the team that we have managing the farm. We are primarily a goat farm, but we raise 3 types of animals which are considered exotic fiber animals. The farm is home to Angora goats and Cashmere goats, 6 alpaca, and 1 merino sheep. So Angora goats originated in Turkey, and they have long curly hair, and they grow a fiber called mohair. The word mohair is from a Turkish word that describes their fiber as the king's fiber. So the Turkish people thought pretty highly of mohair. They're a very sweet animal, very mild-tempered, easy to contain because they're not great jumpers, and they produce a gorgeous fiber. It's long and strong and lustrous. It takes dye beautifully, and they're just such cute animals. We have several different colors of Angoras on the farm. We have white, black, silver or gray, red, and brown, and a lot of colors in between that, which is kind of fun. We sell the goats for pets and for breeding, and we also sell the fiber either washed or raw or as roving. Cashmere goats make up almost half of our herd, but they only give small amounts of fiber each year, and that's part of why cashmere is so expensive. They're also very cute and very amazing jumpers. Anyway, then they have this amazing fiber. It's one of the finest fibers there are, between 13 and 19 microns in diameter, very soft. Our Cashmere goats are derived from feral Australian goats, so they have a very long, soft fiber. Everybody loves the alpacas. They're such funny looking animals, but with those big eyes and long lashes and their cool, really hip haircuts, they draw you in. Did you know alpacas love water? At least mine do. They will stand in their stock tanks and they will fuss over who gets to be in the pool. As soon as I start putting water in there, they crowd in. There's 3 of them in that little kiddie pool. I probably should get another one. And I like how the other ones are waiting patiently. They also turn in circles if you hose them down, because they want you to get them wet on all sides. And then, of course, they'll go roll in the mud. They're generally easy to handle, although they're not as friendly as the goats. These boys, they're all boys, spent their first couple of years on a very big alpaca farm, so they didn't get a lot of hands-on from people. Here's what they look like before they're shorn, and here's what they look like afterwards. Big difference, huh? They're not very big animals, but they look it when they have their fleece on. There's all my naked boys. They get shorn once a year, like the sheep, and that's it. In addition to the goats and raising the fiber, we have a few other things going on. There's a 4-H club called the Giddy Goats, and we have a wonderful group of kids that are involved in that. They're so wonderful that when I had a surprise kidding last January, they came to help out, as you can see here. I'm going to be quiet for a minute so you can hear all the giggling. So then we also had an obstacle course and a goat show last summer during COVID, even though we couldn't go to the 4-H acres. And well, we could have, but it was very restricted. So that was kind of nice that we were able to do that at the farm with the same goats that were a surprise in January. In addition to the 4-H group, we also often have interns on the farm, and they work with me out on the pasture. And they learn to use the equipment and to manage the animals, get comfortable around the animals. It's quite a lot of fun. They've gone with me to goat shows, helped me with displaying the animals. We actually won a prize, and so it's a very rewarding relationship on both sides. One of the most fun things that we do is we have farm tours. We have open farm days where we invite the public to come, and at those times we often have the animals out on the pasture where they can interact with them, bouncing around on a baby playground like this. Sometimes what we have is we have the moms confined, and the babies can go in and out of the pen, so they can get to their mothers whenever they want to. And that lets people interact with the baby goats, which is really what they come for. But we also do, educational booths at our open house where we have shearing display, and we have hand spinners. We sometimes have vet students there, people who can answer questions about fiber and about goat husbandry. And the whole idea is just to invite the public onto the farm and let them see what being a farmer is like and what the animals are really like. And it's a lot of fun. We do it with the cooperative extension, and we also do it on our own. The goats are well acclimated to people, and we actually had several goats this year that was like lap goats. They just would come over and sit down in your lap, and that's delightful to visitors. They take hugs very well. We had a bottle baby last summer, so when we would do the tours, I would take a bottle out with me, and people got to feed the baby. That was a big hit. It's a lot of fun, and we love to do it. So that's all well and good. You've heard about the animals and all the other things that are going on the farm. But what about the fiber? What are we doing with the fiber, and how do we do it? Well, most of the time, I wash the fiber before it goes to the mill. The mill that I use doesn't have any washing facilities. So I wash it, and then it will come back to me either as roving, which you see here in this picture. That's for hand spinners. Or it will come back to me as yarn on these big spools. And I will skein it off and dye it in various colors, whatever suits my fancy or what I think people will like. Sometimes they're crazy colors. And then I will get it ready to sell, which means it's turned into a center pole ball or a loose skein. What we have in the shop presently are several different thicknesses of yarn. We have a bulky, we have almost a thread, I call it lace weight, and then we also have fingering. And then I also will dye finished goods when they come back from knitters. We use small companies to do the knitting, mom and pop operations, and then everything comes back in natural colors, and I do all the dyeing. And here you see a rainbow of socks. I also have a rainbow of gloves. We have another type of sock, which is a very thick, bulky sock. I like to call it a snuggle sock. Then we have the mittens that are made out of recycled sweaters, and they have our yarn on the cuff. Then we have some regular mittens that are made completely from our yarn. Here's a tree of the sweater mittens. There's all kinds of them. They're each individual. This is a blanket made from our bulky yarn. It's incredibly heavy and warm. And then I also make a hand knit booties and things like that for special orders. I do a lot of, well, not a lot of custom stuff. This is also some more dyeing that I did over the summer, and the hats that we have, they're made in Minnesota by a husband and wife team, and they're just wonderful. And this is our hat tree in our shop. Get a sense of what's in the shop this way. And then I do a lot of hand knitting. If I'm sitting, I'm knitting. These are made with cashmere, and they're my own patterns. And I just choose colors that I think go well together, and then I start knitting. And we also have little ornaments. I make little ornaments out of wooden goats. I should mention that I'm a fan of machine knitting also. I'm just an advanced beginner at it, but I do love to do it. And my most recent conquest was that I made a sweater for my granddaughter. So there you go. So that's my presentation, and if anybody has questions that they'd like to ask or things that they'd like to see, our shop is open 2 to 7 daily, and I'll also meet you at the shop. If you can't make it during those hours, I can make arrangements to be there. Thanks a lot for listening. I hope to see you soon. These last photos are a short tour of the farm store. You can see that we take all kinds of credit cards and checks and cash. I take Venmo as well. We're also following the governor's recommendations for COVID. We have a hand sanitizer and social distancing and masks. And we have knitting needles, and this is what the farm store looks like when you come in here. It's a little snug, so we can't have a lot of people at once. Don't come in a crowd. Well, someone could wait in the car, I guess. All right, I hope to see you soon. We have a lot of stuff for you, a lot of wonderful gifts, and from little things to big things. Thanks. Bye.